So, obviously I'm not a doctor. Anything I talk about is my own personal opinion and experience so far. Please take to heart the disclaimer ahead of this video saying to please talk to your doctor and healthcare providers for any questions, concerns, etc., etc. Hi, my name is Star and I am fat and pregnant. I'm not sure what my goal is with this video or any future videos in regards to being fat and pregnant, but I guess I figured there's very little information out there about being an obese woman and pregnant, and I just guess I wanted to try and help out. Like, hopefully, if you've seen my diet vlogs, I'm hoping that helps some people out. As of yesterday, I am 18 weeks pregnant, and this is my second pregnancy. I was pregnant last year, and at 19 weeks, I lost the baby. We were never able to find out what happened, so we never got a reason of why it happened. It was very devastating, and technically, unless you're doing stuff that you know can harm the baby, you should never blame yourself for a miscarriage happening, because my mother would simplify it that it just means something was wrong with the baby. But my husband and I had the baby given up to have an autopsy done, and the autopsy came back more or less saying that the baby was completely normal and perfect as far as a medical autopsy is concerned. When I had my miscarriage, a couple of days beforehand, I had felt like there was a very watery discharge coming from my vagina, and I looked up online, and a lot of women were saying that extra discharge is normal, so I wasn't thinking anything of it. That I noticed for about 2 or 3 days before the actual miscarriage happened, and it happened when I was on the toilet and I was pushing a little bit to help the bowel movement, and all of a sudden there was this sensation like a water balloon had been inside me, and it just popped, and all this fluid came gushing out of me. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't smell anything. I wasn't in any pain. There was no blood, which was very confusing, I think, to some people. I tried calling the doctor I was seeing at the time. I'm seeing a set of different doctors this time. It took 4 hours for him to bother to call back. It was due to my aunt talking me into finally going to the emergency room. I was transferred from my local hospital, who did an ultrasound, and they said I think all the fluid was gone. So I was transferred to Tampa because they said maybe there's a minute chance they can help save the baby, and my husband and I were like, of course, yes, let's do this, let's go. After a very bumpy ambulance ride, we got to Tampa General, and instead of using the machines to look at me, the doctors did a physical exam, and they told me they saw a foot popping out. That's when I knew there was no saving the baby. I remember when they told me you're having a miscarriage in my local hospital, the first thing I did was turn to my husband and I told him, crying, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And it's almost a year now since that, and it's still hard, and I know I shouldn't, but I can't help but feel like I blame myself. So they admitted me to the hospital, and I gave birth to her. they did another vaginal suppository medicine that would make me start having contractions. And those are not fun. Those are very much not fun. But after a couple of hours after taking them, I gave birth to our daughter. She was so tiny. So tiny. And red. Her skin pigment hadn't developed enough, so all you saw was red skin, basically. She was just so tiny. We got to hold her. The nurses were very kind and even put her in a little outfit with a hat. My husband held her, and I didn't know if I wanted to hold her or not. I kind of felt damned if I do, damned if I don't. But I decided to hold her. And the first instinct I had was, minus wanting to hold her, hug her, was I wanted to wrap her up and try and keep her warm. They measured her, they weighed her, they took her fingerprints and her footprints and made like a mini birth certificate for her, of her for us. And they took some pictures of her and put it in a nice little memorial box. He was so tiny. So we got to have her in the room with us for a little bit, and then we held her one more time before she left, because my husband and I had agreed that we want to give her to the lab so they can do an autopsy on her, so hopefully they can find something that'll save another baby from being lost from their parents. So we got one last hug from her. And I also remember telling her, because all of our friends and family online were so happy for us, I said, "You are loved by so many people." By the time we held her again, she was so cold. I guess the one nice thing I got was the nurse told me after I had given birth to her that there was no heartbeat. So I'm hoping that she didn't feel any pain. That's all you can hope for, I guess. So when we held her one more time to say goodbye, I just remember she was so cold. She was still dressed and wrapped up, but she felt so cold. And then when the nurse took her away and she held her, properly, I shouted, "I love you." So that's what happened. And then there was the joy of the afterbirth. It wasn't passing naturally, so I had to go and have done what's called a DNC. And what that is simply is that I go into an operating room and they scoop it out. That was a trip, because I was under some medication to put me to sleep. I didn't do anesthesia. They gave me something in my IV. That knocked me out. They scooped out my placenta. We also had that sent to the lab for an examination to see if anything was wrong with that, maybe. Both results came back, everything was normal. Nobody could give me a reason what the hell happened. But when I woke up from the medicine that knocked me out, because I'm heavy, they put me on something to help transport me from the surgery table to a bed. And I remember I'm half out of it, half awake, and when they moved me, I went, "Ooh, I feel like I'm flying." I ended up being in the hospital in total for about 2 or 3 days. And my husband was with me the whole time, and I was very thankful for that, because I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't. That all happened. I feel horrible. I never remember the day. I think it was June 18th or 19th it happened. Or 12th? I'm a bad parent. So, and I was miserable. And obviously I had gained weight from the pregnancy. My plan was to lose weight before I became pregnant again, but I ended up so depressed about the baby, and I already have depression and post-traumatic stress disorder that I think I ended up gaining a little more weight because I didn't care. I really did not care. I think there was one moment I did have thoughts of suicide, but I can't do it because I don't want my brother being alone, and I don't want to leave my husband. We were scared to try again. We were doing natural family planning, just checking my cycle, finding out what safe days were, what not safe days were. And then I think I had a moment where I didn't care, and we ended up being together on a day that was not safe, and that's how we got this one. I'm pretty sure I know the day of conception because I had a doctor's appointment. My husband and I had been intimate that morning. I went to the doctor, they took my temperature, and they're like, "You got a fever, you feeling okay?" I'm like, shit. That's the second I knew, it's like, I'm pregnant. But I decided to wait and see what would happen, and then my period didn't come, and we got a blood test done, and they confirmed I was pregnant. So then we went to our now doctors when I was like 5 weeks pregnant, and they have been very on top of everything, and so far everything is good. They are very happy with how the baby's looking and sounding with her heart, and I'm due this July 21st, so we'll see what happens. We're excited, we're terrified, we're happy, and we're scared. So, being a fat and pregnant woman, I am considered a high-risk pregnancy. And there are plenty of reasons that somebody can be considered a high-risk pregnancy. Honestly, the main things that I believe most heavier women are at risk with being heavy while pregnant is there is something called gestational diabetes. It's basically the same thing as diabetes 2, where you need to take an insulin shot, but the difference is it only lasts during the pregnancy. So more or less you're going to be asked to take a drink of something very, very sweet, and then an hour later they're going to take blood. They're going to do their testy things, and they're going to see how your sugar levels are, how your insulin is, producing, and make sure everything's correct. So far, I'm fine. Another thing that may come from a pregnancy is my last pregnancy that I am not having with this one is I had high blood pressure in my last pregnancy. I am very happily not having high blood pressure with this pregnancy, and I did not have high blood pressure before I became pregnant. Protein is good. As far as what I'm eating, especially once I hit the second trimester, because I try to research what's going on with the baby during each week, and the second trimester is when the bones start developing. And my mom had always told me that when she was pregnant, she had dairy like every day, milk, yogurt. What I've been doing since the second pregnancy is I try to absolutely drink at least 16 ounces of milk a day, and I prefer 2%, and have a piece of fruit every day. It ends up normally being a Granny Smith apple. I indulge a little bit, I put a little Nutella on the apple, but I also try to be good on other times and just have the apple straight. And just watching what you eat normally. I'm trying not to overeat, I'm trying not to indulge. The only thing I'm indulging in is carbs because they're cheap, they're filling, and I couldn't have them when I was on my diet. But I am trying to drink water. I still really don't drink soda. The only soda I drink is ginger ale because for me that helps with the nausea. And again, I don't try to overboard with the soda. It's normally like, and when I say half a cup, I mean you got like that 16-ounce red cup thing. I only try to drink maybe a half a cup of it at a time, not a full cup when I'm feeling sick. And I do try to only drink it when I'm feeling sick. And just, trying to be mindful of what you're eating, not to the point that you're on a diet and necessarily counting calories about it, but just trying to be good about it, not overeat, not eat too much junk food or take out. The doctors are very, not insistent, that sounds too strong, but are happy to hear if somebody's having a more high protein diet kind of meals. And yeah, so it's just try and be more aware of the eating habits, because it can and more likely does affect the kid. Plus, I mean, just because you're pregnant, that doesn't mean you have to eat for two. It's not like that anymore. Just eat till you're comfortable, and just still try to eat it proper as best you can. I'm not saying don't indulge now and again, but don't make it all the time. Some issues I've had is something called a round ligament pain. This is a round ligament. I don't know what it does. It has something to do with your pelvis area. What happens when you become pregnant is a hormone is released to help relax the pelvis, expand the pelvis, so the baby can, give birth. I'm assuming that's obviously affecting the ligaments as well. So what my experience has been, it has been only on my right side, not my left or both, just solely my right side. And it hurts. I had one day where it hurt so bad I could barely move. Most days it's very bearable, manageable. It's just very uncomfortable. It's like walking stiff for a little bit, and then it eases up the more you walk a bit, but not by much. Just enough compared to when you first stand up from being on the couch. What has helped for me at times is, because it's on my right side, when I go to bed, I will lay on my left side, and then when I wake up in the morning and I walk to go to the bathroom, there's less pain going on. So that's what's helped me. Now, something that also has happened to me in this pregnancy so far is I have been diagnosed with what's referred to as a short cervix. I think the gist of that is meaning that I'm at risk for the cervix opening and my baby being born way too early. Not just a preemie, because I was born a preemie. Preemie is I think 8 to 12 weeks early. This is before the kid can really be anywhere near on its own. It's still underdeveloped to be technically having a chance to live. So I had some options. I think a month or two ago it was option to me I could have a shot, and I don't remember what the shot was or even what the doctor said it could do, but I didn't feel comfortable doing it, so I turned it down. My last doctor's visit, I was examined physically by the doctor, the same like a pap smear, that kind of exam. And she also did an ultrasound for her to see. I couldn't see, which I hated, because the ultrasound's my favorite part. That's the only time you get to see the baby. And at the moment, I am told I have the short cervix. So the options I had was I could be stitched up, which is they literally sew my cervix shut to help it not open prematurely. The biggest risk they seem to have with that option, which of course, again, ask all and any questions you can think of, was risk of infection. That's never a good thing. That's the same risk you have with any type of invasive surgery. So after talking it over with my husband, we have agreed that that is an absolute last resort option for us. When the doctor did an exam, she said, all right, we'll see if your cervix is opened or if it's closed. When she did the exam, thankfully, my cervix was still closed. When she did the ultrasound, my husband got to see the bottom half of the baby and got to see her legs kicking, and the doctor heard my daughter's heartbeat, and everything looks fine. The doctor was very happy with what she saw and heard. So the other option she gave us to help prevent my cervix from opening, since more or less everybody was understanding and agreeing about holding off, ideally, hopefully not needing, the stitch-up thing, is she gave us a pill called Protogen, I think is the word. I'm sure the technical terms I'll look up. I'll just pop them up down here, what everything I'm not saying correctly what the technical terms are. It is a suppository that I take vaginally once a day at night before bed. The doctor said there are no side effects or issues that can come from it. So, you know, that's always a good thing. And I haven't had any issues personally with it. We've been taking it for about a week. And I have no complaints. I haven't noticed any side effects or discomforts or anything like that from it. So far that's working for us. And this is the scariest time for me and my husband at the moment with the pregnancy, because it was around this time we lost our first baby, which also would have been a girl. What happened with that pregnancy, I think, is what we are trying to prevent with this pregnancy. I'm sure most of this is TMI, but I'm trying to inform people what my experiences were so that maybe they can keep a lookout and prevent anything bad happening to them or their babies as well. So that is my experiences so far with being fat and pregnant. I think I'm about halfway through the pregnancy, rounded. I think I'm also about halfway through my second trimester. So we'll see what happens. But remember, this is all my opinion and my own personal experiences. Please talk to your gynecologist, your primary care doctor, any actual medical professional, not me. I'm just ranting, raving, and doing my best to maybe help some people who may feel confused and unsure. The only other advice the doctors have given me, if I feel anything is wrong or if I'm in any level of very high pain, just go straight to the doctor. Go straight to the ER. And I mean, I don't see the harm in recommending that as well. So thank you for listening to the rambling and the ranting, and if this didn't make sense, I'm sorry. But hopefully it helps somebody, and I don't know if I'll continue this or not, and but I hope it helped somebody. So thank you again for watching. Bye.